Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our coverage of SoCal Stage 24, the premier DanceRush Tournament in Southern California, hosted by Henry Zhang. We have today one of our finalists who made it out of the online qualifiers. He's actually made it out first. We actually have Yunghas. Say hello.
What's up? What's going on?
How's it going? So, for some context, Yunghas actually qualified first out of the online qualifiers. He'll be our first seed going into our final in-person bracket. We had a long and arduous online qualifiers, and now we're finally at the tournament stage, or prepping for the tournament stage
Go.
in person. So I guess before we move on, I guess Yunghas, did you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, I'm Yunghas. I play mainly at PHM. I started Dance Rush about a year ago, so just around last May, last June. Um, I mean the game's been a lot of fun. It's been good to me. Yeah, I'm excited to compete.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting was that you'd mentioned you'd only been playing for a year, which had blown my mind. Uh,
Right.
I feel like I've seen you there quite a bit. So it's simultaneously felt like you've been there super long, but not long at all, right? That it's
Yeah.
only been a
Yeah.
year in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, I think it might be the like the person who started the latest out of all the top eight. So it's daunting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I was just gonna bring that up, right? Like, you are definitely the newest of the finalists. A lot of the finalists, I think, had
Yeah.
like anywhere from like 3 to 5 years of experience, like depending on what they did during COVID. So not only are you the finalist, I mean, you not only did you make it as a finalist coming out of like a stacked sort of qualifiers, but you made it out first. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I can't say I necessarily agree with all the judges. I appreciate I appreciate the scores. But me personally, it's there's a lot that needs to be improved. There's a lot that needs to be tightened up, and I've been trying to find it in myself for the next 2 months to kind of get everything straightened out by August. So hopefully by then you'll see a completely different Young Haas. Well, not completely different, but just a much more refined Young Haas.
Well, this humble young class I'm already a big fan of. I mean, speaking on that, right? More refined. I actually felt, and let's talk about your submission for a bit because I think that lends
Sure.
itself well, right? Because in some ways, I felt your submission was both refined and not. There were moments where I felt you were letting loose, and yet there were moments I was like, oh
Hmm.
no, that's just young Haas, right? So I guess my
Yeah.
first question to you would be first, like, why Golden Palms? Why did you decide to choose that song? What was the reasoning behind Golden Palms?
Golden Pops has always been like a really funky song. I mean I talked about it with Henry a lot um, at the start of the year where I was kind of thinking towards model, and I asked him like, what do you think makes like a good competition song? And between something that kind of reflects you and your style well, there was also there was also a lot of emphasis on a song that not a lot of people would pick. So I think it was just a really unique song. Not a lot of people mess with it, and it kind of jived with me pretty well. Um, I've always liked, that kind of like funky chest roll, bits and pieces of Boogaloo style, uh, elements of like whacking and voguing. They all lend themselves really well to Golden Palms. And originally, my submission wasn't even going to be Golden Palms. Originally, it was going to be Saturday Night Love, which turned into the special one, which turned into Bus Tune, which turned into Saturday Night Love Funk Disco Remix, which turned into what's that song called? It got taken off. It turned into the Momoland song,
Oh,
Boom
okay, yeah.
Boom, which turned into Golden Palms. The original plan was to have Golden Palms ready for something like Model or something like eclipse. And 3 days before the tournament closed, um, it was announced that model was not going to happen this year. So I kind of just said, all right, well, I guess we're doing Golden Palms now. And I just recorded it in the last 3 days. I was satisfied with like 98, and I just submitted it.
I mean, we've talked about this, right? Where I was discussing where I felt there were certain songs that benefited you more during the submission
Right.
period, and talking or sort of walking through your sort of thought process on the songs you picked. I think a lot of them end up having that same sort of style where it gives you that opportunity to, for you at least, what I found was like the body rolls, sort of the swinging it
Yeah.
around the towns, a lot of the waves. And I guess that was one of my big takeaways on your submission, right? And I wanted to ask you about that on your submission with the Golden Palms. Was that like, you know, some highlights for me with your submission was like it was that high kick that you did right
Right.
near that first down section, which is now going to be on your T-shirt and immortalized forever. And it's that, right? It's all those body rolls. Like, did you feel, I guess, with that submission that it played to your strengths? Was that something active you chose because it played like that? Or was it, like, I don't know, like, what are your strengths did you feel with your submission? Because obviously it got you to first place, right? So what did you feel your strengths were in that submission?
Very. I think the big thing was the kind of like vibe. Everyone, I think, could see that I was enjoying myself when I was doing the song. Um, I could see that I was enjoying myself, and usually with these kinds of things, I never really prepared too much. A lot of it is pretty much freestyled, so it very much is like kind of like a raw expression. You know what I mean? And I think that's as far as the strengths go. Of course, like when I don't think I have too much experience, so when I am freestyling, I tend to repeat a lot. I tend to um, sometimes just focus on like scoring or something. So it's not perfect, but I think the vibe being sold in that video is um, just like the biggest part of, I guess, what got me to where I was.
I think you nailed it on the spot because I think truthfully a lot of us at PHM were surprised that you were first. I don't think we ever doubted your ability to make it to the finals, but first we were quite surprised too. And I think you nailed it on the
Yeah,
head, right?
first was definitely yeah.
Like I said, I think you were definitely
um,
finalist worthy, right? First,
sure. Yeah.
I think you nailed it on the head though, because I think anyone that watches that video, and we can link it if we need to, but anyone that watches that video is exactly that. It's like your vibes are immaculate, right? Like you're not
Yeah.
doing the most technical thing. You do have a lot of good body rolls, and I guess one of the ways to equate it is like in a shuffling game, you're not shuffling all that much, right? And I know you
Yeah.
can. Henry and I have talked about it, where like we know you're hiding some stuff that you can really throw out if you really want to. So I mean, I'm excited
All
for.
I'm saying is, if they give me so what, if they give me so what, dude, yeah, I'm definitely hiding something.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, going into August 10th, which will be our tournament day, in person, you got a 8-person single elim bracket. You are the top
Right.
seed, although it will be randomized, so no big play with seeding going into it. I mean, for you,
Right.
you mentioned it before, right? Like, not that much experience with Dance Rush, and in fact, I think you're the only competitor really without any Dance Rush tournament experience, right? Like, I wanted to know what are
Yes.
your thoughts on the bracket going into it? Like, your initial thoughts on it.
Um, I think it's gonna be really difficult to kind of pick out a winner, if we're being honest. Which is to say that the way that the tournament is structured is your songs are essentially randomized, and you have a very, very tiny bit of control over what you get. So to me, it feels like there are a lot of people who are really locked into certain kind of styles, and there are some people who can kind of do all styles, maybe don't score all that well. And I think it really comes down to it's really going to come down to which songs we all get, how well we do. So, if I were to get something like, I don't know, like Rock the Party, um, I don't think I'm going to make it very far.
I think you'd be
But then
fine
if I
with
were
the
to
party.
get some, like if we got something like if I got something like, I don't know, So What, Shuffle Cats, Metric, I'd be a lot more comfortable.
That's fair.
So very very much for me, a lot of practice has been trying to be comfortable with the other songs.
Mm.
But I don't know if I can get that in time. So it might be better to just play to my strengths and then just hope on the good ones. Hope I get into the songs I want.
I
So
mean, I think you brought up a good point, right? In that because the songs are randomized and Henry intentionally put or picked rather a bunch of very like varied songs style wise that
yeah,
I felt that this stage of the bracket or this part of the tournament is like very different from the online qualifiers, right? Like this is like what I feel is true dance rush. Like, oh, someone picked the song, you're like, okay, let's run it. Let's see
right.
what you got, right? Improv on the spot.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you have some prep. Do you like your Do you like your chances going into it? Do you feel you're gonna do well? Like, how's your confidence level going into this then? Going into that stage?
Um, truthfully, it's not high. I don't. I mean, here's the thing: is I don't think it's really worthwhile to assume that you're going to do well, because I think that is what makes me very complacent. It's kind of what makes me just say, oh, we don't need to practice. We're going to do fine. And then, I don't know, somebody pulls up and, you get caught with your pants down. I think it's important to assume that the other person is doing as much as they can to prepare for this tournament. And if you aren't preparing like they are, you're going to get left in the dust. So my honest, yeah, my honest opinion is like from here till August, uh, you know, practice should be taken pretty seriously.
Well, speaking on that, and this is by no means to try and put pressure on you, but I know inherently it will, and we had this conversation literally like 5 minutes before this, but you will be the only one
Yeah.
repping, not necessarily SoCal. We have Nishi Pan also repping SoCal, but you'll be the only
Yeah,
one repping PHM in the finals. And you know how we are at PHM, we're
that's
very
right.
proud of sort of our own dance rush community that we built up there. So I guess I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you to speak on that. Like, how does it feel to be the only one, I guess, to make it out from PHM? Because I mean, Chesby Max, who was our not only a finalist last year, but was runner up to the entire tournament, didn't even make it into the bracket stage, right? So this was a killer sort of tournament this year. I mean, so what are your thoughts being that sort of sole rep from PHM?
I think speaking on it from like a community perspective, um, being the only one with PHM has seemed to kind of put a lot of the PHM players on,
On blast.
I guess, like a path of improvement. You know what I mean? Like I talk to Max every day, and every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, dude, does my locking look better?" He never locks, right? But
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
been really, really trying to push into like a new style because he knows that like um, as good as the shuffling is, it's he needs something more now. Like the competition is really rising around him, and he's feeling the need to improve. And I think that kind of air has been present as I was, I guess, the only one at PHM to I guess really make it on. I think this is kind of I guess the kick in the pants that like PHM kind of needed. You know what I mean? To understand that like if this is if you're kind of complacent about it, the world's gonna like move on without you. Yeah. Not to sound militant or anything, but
No, I'm with you
it
there.
is it is nice to it is nice to see that you know people are understanding what it takes to like what's being asked of you when you're trying to play to improve. Um, and I'm glad people are kind of like stepping up to that and saying like, well, uh, let's let's play to improve, right? Let's really work on ourselves. Let's work on our skills, and this is what we're up against.
Yeah.
I so I mean I am glad. It's a little heavy on the pressure, but I am glad that people are recognizing that like this is now like this is kind of a sign that like it's time to kind of stop being stagnant.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, and I'm sure you noticed this as someone who is sort of like on the newer end of the people that have done PHM, but like a lot of us have been
Sure,
like, just like, not necessarily riding on our laurels, but just checked out, just like coming to play, not necessarily
for sure.
trying to improve super, super hard. And so I agree. I think you being the top seed and showing us, oh, it takes a young gun, new energy, and also like you've been putting in the work to show that, I think has been really, really good for PHM in general. I
I
guess.
think it's fine to like. I think it's okay if you kind of just tell yourself like, you know what, I don't want it anymore. This is where I want to stop. I don't feel like I need to keep pushing myself to improve. That's fine. But for sure, there are people at PHM who they're not done yet, and it's really nice to see that fire kind of like light up
Mhm.
in them again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you young bloods that are coming in, it's always super nice to see, because if it's just old heads all the time, oh, we're not gonna do anything.
Right. Right.
So I guess without trying to take up too much of your time, I guess one big question that is not just on my mind, but I guess would be on everyone's mind before we wrap this up. I guess word on the street is you have a little bit of a rivalry with one of your fellow finalists in Sprite. I mean, you two have been blowing up that Discord general chat that we have for the tournament. I don't know. I'll give you
We
the
do
first
that in
shot
every
at it.
chat we're in.
For sure.
um,
I'll give you, yeah. I'll
no,
give
I
you
mean
Crystal get it.
it really kind of started with just I wanted to play SWAT for no, I wanted to play Ready or Not with Sprite, and he would just dodge me every day. Fucking asshole.
Family
I'd be
friendly
like,
here.
damn, dude, you want to play some Ready or Not, dude? And he'll just be like, oh, I'm feeling sick. I gotta go. And that evolved into me posting pictures of like excessive violence, right? And just like I don't know, like a bear pushing another bear off a cliff, and I just write like from the Point of Hills Mall, right, with like a smiley face, you know. And I mean, there was like a Megazord arc where me and like four other people were gonna combine just to kill Sprite. I have a baseball bat here
You do.
for
We saw it
Sprite.
earlier.
I have nunchucks here for Sprite. Um,
So what
as
I'm
of
hearing
recently,
is,
it's been
yeah.
it's been me trying to throw the Sprite off the roof of PHM. Um,
I think I don't think the world is ready if both of you guys are on opposite sides of the bracket and you guys make it to the finals of finals night. Like, I don't think the world is ready for the amount of sparks that are gonna fly. Someone might end up breaking that no prop rule and bring in that bat and those nunchucks or something. But I want to
what
see it.
what people don't see between me and Sprite is a lot of our DMs, which is where I legitimately ask him for advice, and
Right.
we legitimately help each other, and we have a lot of I do think we have a lot of mutual respect for each
Mm-hmm.
other, but nobody wants to fucking see that. Everyone wants to see us beat the shit out of each other. So, you know, don't worry about all that.
Oh, the rivalry sells.
Don't worry about the fact that me and Sprite were, kind of like sharing videos and being like, "Hey, do you think this is okay to like submit?"
I mean, I think that's more of a
Uh,
testament to the dancers community, where I feel like we're all pretty nice people. Not just like the PHM
yeah,
boys, but just everyone in the dancers community in general is just like very nice and willing to help if you're willing to ask.
yeah. And I mean, Sprite isn't somebody who's like who I just, yeah, I mean, who's been like awful to me or anything. Like there was a time last August August or September, where I was learning how to do the kip up,
Mm.
and I remember I had asked Sprite like, "Hey, dude, you want to join me in VC and like just kind of review the kip ups that I'm doing?" And there was one night where he straight up spent like, I don't know, from like 10 p.m. to like 5 in the morning just sitting with me, just working out the kip up
Love
with
that.
me. And I mean, a month later, now I can do it, and now I do it, I guess, decently often, or at least I rarely mess up now, unless I'm like on the wrong side of the pad or something. So no, like my rivalry with Sprite is purely, um, no, you know what? Fuck that guy. Let's go.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, I think for me, that's definitely going to be one of the things, like one of the side stories I'm going to be looking out for.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I don't die too early in the bracket.
If something happens, we know why, right? Like if you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
compete for whatever reason, we know we're gonna fly out to like the Chicago area and hunt them down or something.
Yeah. You know, knock on his door and nicely, smiley face.
All right. Well, I didn't want to take up too much of your time, and truthfully, I think in doing this, I think myself and as a lot of the viewers will probably hopefully get to see the type of person and competitor that you are. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to ask you, was there anything you wanted to say to potentially the people that would be watching your tournament play? And like anything you would like to tell them, or any shout outs or anything like that?
Um, I would not be where I am right now if I didn't bother people to stay with me till 5 in the morning and practice with them and play and do it over and over and over. So, I mean, if you've played Dance Rush for long enough, I mean, I I owe everything to you. You know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't playing Dance Rush now, I would be kind of just sweating away in my room upstairs.
What was it?
And
You said Third Strike?
yeah, I just still be playing that game. You know, like I win and I feel nothing, but when I lose, I want to.
Fair enough.
I'm ready to like smash a hole in my wall.
Yeah.
Um, it's and you know I hadn't like I don't know. I think it's really nice to be a part of the greater community. It's nice to learn from everybody. It's nice to talk to people. So I I guess extend a lot of gratitude to everyone that I've kind of met up to this point, um, playing Dance Rush. Um, and I guess as far as the message goes to any newer players, it'd just be don't be afraid to ask and work your ass off, right? Work hard.
If there's one
Yeah.
person to echo that, I mean you've worked so hard since when I saw you start.
Thank
So
you.
I agree with it. And with that, we can start to wrap up. Thank you for your time during this
Anytime, man.
interview. Hopefully, audience, you guys got to see a little bit of Yunghas, the competitor, not just some face behind a Discord profile picture yelling at Sprite, but actually like a thoughtful,
Nah, fuck that guy.
thoughtful,
Yeah, I'm gonna
hardworking
kill him.
competitor, gonna
We're
do
not
his
even gonna
best.
compete. Listen, okay, I asked Sprite earlier, you know, should I throw you off before or after the competition? He hasn't
During.
answered me yet, so.
I
Or
need
during.
during.
Yeah, we can do during.
He's gonna fall
We
through
could
the
do like
ceiling
a-
onto the pad.
We can do like a backstage shot, like from WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have some beef go on.
All right. Well, in fear of both the potential, in fear of both this taking too long, this interview taking too long, as well as the potential one of you two being in jail for killing each other, we will end this off soon. For those of you guys tuning in, make sure to check out SoCal Stage 24. It'll be at Puente Hills Mall in lovely Southern California on August 10th in the afternoon, close to around dinner time. If you are not in the area and would like to check it out on stream, we can post that link. It'll be hosted by Henry Zhang, I believe, both on YouTube and Twitch. It'll be a good time, and as just to echo what Yunghas was saying, come out to the
and
tournament, man.
Sprite won't be going to jail. I'll be going to jail.
Fair enough. Very one-sided. Okay. Thank you so much, and I'll see you the next time I see you. I guess I'll see you next week,
Thanks for the
but see you at the
interview.
tournament
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Sounds good, man.
And